Good morning and welcome to our webinar, How to Get Women-Owned Small Business, WOSB, EDWOSB, certified. My name is James Forrest. I am the program coordinator for Norcal PTAC. That's the Northern California Procurement Technical Assistance Center. We have the main presentation today being given by Nancy Pigeon, one of our excellent procurement specialists. So she's the expert in the house. And we are also very happy to have a couple of our favorite partners along with us today from the Women's Business Center. So I'll introduce them in a second. We have Darlene Neal and Nina Gibbs. And I believe Darlene is going to take this first slide and just talk a bit about our partners here. And then I'll give a little spiel about PTAC and who we are. So good morning, Darlene, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you, James. And good morning to everyone out there. We thank you for joining us this morning. And so I want to talk to you this morning about the California Women Business Centers. And we have over 100 centers where we provide educational services and also training courses and webinars to assist entrepreneurs and small business owners with anything that they need in terms of growth for their business, whether they're starting a new business or have an existing business and looking for ways to pivot their business and grow. We also partner with PTAC to help clients with really understanding the process of going through the application for submitting the certification for the women-owned business certification process. So we are here as a resource to support you. And on the screen, you'll have 6 centers that are pretty much located in the general area of PTAC. I am with the New America Women's Business Center as a director for the Oakland office, and we have 2 locations, one in Oakland and one in San Jose. And so, again, we thank you and welcome you for joining us. The New America's Women's Business Center is in part funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, as well as the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And with that service, we're able to offer you our services at no charge. And you have our webinar, our address there for our email, as well as my email and phone number. So you can contact me if you need further assistance with your individual needs. Again, we thank you and we welcome you to today's webinar where you'll get some great information. And I want to turn it over to Nina Gibbs with the Women's Business Center of JEDI.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I can't start my video, James, so, oh, there we go, got the button. Thank you. Hi there, Darlene did an excellent job of explaining what we do, so mine will be quite short. My name's Nina, and I'm one of the advisors with the Women's Business Center at JEDI. We also have 2 locations. We have offices in Redding and Mount Shasta, so we're up in far Northern California. And we do all the same things that Darlene mentioned. We have workshops, webinars, we do one-on-one advising. For anyone who's looking to start a business, for anybody in business currently looking to scale or grow, and then even exit their business. So my information is there. The email address info@e-jedi.org is the best way to reach out to us. And I encourage you to visit our website, which I will put into the chat because it's new and it has a lot of great information about some upcoming programs we have in the next few months. We are happy to be here.
It looks like you're getting some love from the chat too. People like the WBC. So, all right, great. Thank you so much for partnering with us for this webinar. This webinar is actually the 3rd of a series that we were having last month for Women's Small Business Month, and we had to delay it until now. So, and this is the 3rd part of a 3-part series that's just sort of wandered off on its own. So here we are, wrapping things up. We are Norcal PTAC. We're the hosts of today's webinars. That PTAC stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and the Norcal part is this service area of ours. This is a little slice of Northern California with 15 counties in green, you can see, and that sort of matches up with the map of the WBCs that we selected. There's more WBCs in California, but we were just showing the ones in our service area. And so basically, we're a nonprofit center. We're not a government agency. Although we're funded by government grants, and what we do is we provide assistance to small businesses looking to get into the government marketplace. And the way we do that is with a couple different services, but first I want to talk about our host. We're hosted by the Humboldt State sponsored Humboldt State University, soon to be Cal Poly Humboldt sponsored programs foundation, and where we get our grant funding from the Defense Logistics Agency as well as the Governor's Office in California. And in 2020 alone, we helped our clients spend more than $314 million in contracts, and that number keeps going up. So we're very happy to be helping our clients. We have a team of procurement specialists and then a small admin staff, of which I'm a part of. Our procurement specialists can help our clients out with a number of things. So if you're in our service area in one of these green counties, if you have an address in that service area, you can apply for services, and then you're eligible for the first two items here: one-on-one counseling and custom bid matching. The third thing, resources and trainings. This is available for everybody to join from anywhere. So it sounds like more than half of the folks here are not from our service area. That's totally fine. You can always join our webinars and take a look at our website, which is chock full of resources and information. But if you'd like to apply, please go to our website and you can get a meeting, a one-on-one meeting with one of our expert specialists. So if that's for counseling and custom bid matching. So they can go over just about any topic related to procurement that you can think of. Let me bring the slides back here. And then, so if it's certifications, government marketplace research, finding bid opportunities, compliance, all sorts of things, cradle to grave assistance. And we can also help you by setting up a bid matching profile, which is a service that we pay for and then offer for free. It's pretty neat. Basically, it just takes a lot of bid opportunities from the internet and sends them to your inbox so you can stay on top of them. If you're not in this service area, I see someone's asking about Los Angeles County. The only counties that we serve with these two first services are in the ones you see on the map right now in Northern California. So Los Angeles County does not qualify for those services, but we have PTAC centers, we're part of a network of centers that are across the entire country. So please do take a look at the web address apptac-us.org down there, and you can find your local PTAC. So hopefully that's of help to you. There's about 95 to 100 PTACs across the country. So chances are you're in the service area of another PTAC, and so you needn't worry about it. Everything we do is free. It's paid by tax dollars, so you've already paid for it, so you might as well take advantage of it. And there's my contact information at the bottom. One more note that we are going to be sharing the slides and the video later today to our website. I dropped the link in the chat. It's under resources, and because we are recording right now. And then if you have any questions that you'd like read aloud during the Q&A, please put them into the Q&A window. You can see that there's a Q&A and a chat. Questions go into the Q&A. If you'd like to network, if you want to say hi, if you have a technical issue or something like that, you can put that in the chat. But questions generally, there's too many folks to track it in the chat. So we'll try to keep organized with that. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And I'm going to hand things over to Nancy. This is Nancy Pigeon, our procurement specialist with Norcal PTAC.
Sorry about that. I was fighting James for control of the mouse there.
I'll let you win this time.
You let me win. Okay, good. Okay, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, and while I'm doing that, James is going to put up a little poll so we can kind of get an idea of our audience. So I am, again, Nancy Pigeon, procurement specialist here at Norcal PTAC. Some of my background, I'm retired U.S. Air Force, so I was active duty for 22 years. My first 10 years, I was in ammo. That's kind of an interesting thing. So I helped build bombs and rockets and all sorts of ammunition for the A-10 Warthog at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson. I then cross-trained into contracting, and I did that for 12 years. Really enjoyed the contracting, did a few deployments, really enjoyed it, really learned a lot. Once I retired, I became an Air Force civilian, and I was a procurement analyst. And then I went to the Veterans Affairs in Sacramento, California, moved to be home. And I was a training officer, but also I did some purchasing there. So I did a lot of training out of that office. Then went to the Bureau of Reclamation because I wanted to get back into contracting and being a contracting officer. And I did that 4 years. So that's about 32 years I spent either in the DoD or as a federal employee. And 2 years ago, I came over to PTAC. I enjoyed working with the small businesses. My last job at Bureau of Reclamation was working with small businesses. And I truly enjoy this. Of course, my specialty is federal, since a lot of my background was federal contracting. And over the 2 years, I learned the California state contracting, and I can do that very well as well. And my favorite part is the one-on-one counseling. I just enjoy meeting with new clients and figuring out the plan for them to get them going in government contracting. So that's the best part. Do we want to publish the poll there so we can see what we're... Oh, okay.
All right, it's launched.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. All right, looks good. Looks like we have the right people here today.
Yeah, it looks like about half of you are not certified. A third of you are working on it.
That's good. Okay.
About 10% are not sure what those mean. So
Okay, well, hopefully.
you folks are definitely in the right place today.
Yeah, hopefully
We'll
that, yeah.
figure all of those things out. We don't have any economically disadvantaged WOSB,
Okay.
and a few for the WOSB.
Okay. Okay, great. Let's go to, let's see. Am I working here? There we go. Okay. So first, a disclosure: the information I provide is accurate to the best of my ability. If there's any type of regulations specified, it's current as of this time. It may change in the future. Government changes every day. So if you're listening to this in the future, just make sure that you check any regulations or any information that I'm providing here to make sure it's still current. So today is a little different. The past, like James says, this was a series that we were doing, had to be postponed because of me, I'll admit it. And so I had some health issues that we had to postpone. So this particular class was actually going over the WOSB, EDWOSB application. So today you're going to learn more about the application. So if you still need more information on WOSB to EDWOSB, we do have the recorded webinars that we did last month that you can go find out more about the exact program. But today we're going to talk about the actual application in beta.certify.gov and kind of the things that are tripping people up, things that people forget. And then, it's frustrating to get your application sent back because you didn't do something right. So I'd like to go over those today and hopefully help you make sure that you're doing your application right and you're uploading the right things. So again, I'm going to do a basic overview of the WOSB, WOSB, EDWOSB program, just so you have that little bit of information. I'll go into how to create the account because there's specific things that you have to do when you're creating your account. I'll do some application highlights. I've got some things marked in red that are kind of trigger points for when you're doing the application. We'll talk about the EDWOSB financials, all the financial information that you have to provide. So hopefully it will help you gather all that information before you get in there and start putting things in. We'll do a little summary, I have some resources, and then we'll do the Q&A. And hopefully I can answer your questions. Okay, so the basic certification overview. And okay, there we go. Okay, so to be eligible for the Women's Contracting Program, a business must be a small business per the SBA side standards. And so you can look those up. There's a chart in the SBA that tells you what the size standards are, and it's based on your NAICS code. You must be at least 51% unconditionally owned and unconditionally controlled by women. So there can be no conditions on the ownership, such as it's held by a trust or there's any kind of limited control by the women who are going to apply for the application or apply for the certification. The women have to manage the day-to-day operations and also make long-term decisions. So it can't be I call it a figurehead type of thing where the man is really in control of the company, but he's using, a spouse or someone else in his family as the woman-owned figurehead for this. You have to prove that the woman manages the day-to-day operations and makes all the long-term decisions. So that's kind of why they went into doing the actual certification instead of self-certification. They wanted to get rid of some of that, some of those conditions where men were registering as women-owned. Okay, for the economically disadvantaged program, you must meet all the requirements of the woman-owned contracting. So those things that we just went through. You must be owned and controlled by one or more women with a personal net worth less than $750,000. You also have to be owned and controlled by one or more women, each with $350,000 or less in adjusted gross income averaged over the previous 3 years. And then you must be owned and controlled by one or more women, each with $6 million or less in personal assets. So you have to meet all three of those requirements, not one or the other. You have to meet all three of those requirements. And under certain circumstances, you may have to provide your spouse's income. And that's typically when the spouse is involved in your company, same or similar line of work, or share a similar name, website, equipment, or employees. So those are some of the conditions where you'd have to provide your spouse's income. Now how to apply. So you do have to be registered in SAM. So if you're registered in SAM, then you more than likely have the login.gov account to be able to log into the platform. And then as of July 15, 2020, there are 2 ways to become certified. We used to have the self-certify in SAM. That's no longer the way to become certified. You either have to certify through the SBA certification site, which is free, and that's what I'm going to show you today, or you have to certify through a third-party certifier, which costs. There's a cost associated with that. So there are 4 nonprofits that can perform the third-party certification. But just a note, because I've had a few clients who have come back to tell me, yeah, we're certified. We certified through the Women's Chamber of Commerce. Well, they're not certified through the SBA. So if you decide to go to U.S. Women's Chamber or any of these 4, and you get your certification, you have to go into the SBA site and put your certification in. And I'll show you where that is today when we go through the actual certification site. But just please, if you're sitting out there and you say, I'm certified, but you only have the Women's Chamber of Commerce certification, you still need to go in and put your certification in and get the certification through SBA. Then it will show up on your profile, and when a contracting officer looks at the profiles, he'll see that you are certified. If it doesn't say you're certified in there, then you're not certified. I just want to make that pretty clear. I have had a couple of clients that I had to help them go through that. I just threw the goals in here to kind of give you an idea of some of the perks of being woman-owned or EDWOSB. The goal for WOSB is usually 5% of Fed contracts. That's an SBA goal, an annual goal. And then I just put a couple of years here so you can see in comparison. In the past 4 years, they've only met 1 year that was over 5%. So there are opportunities out there to get the set-asides for woman-owned small business or EDWOSB. And in the goaling, the WOSB and the EDWOSB are combined. They're not 2 separate categories. So just an idea of how much money was spent. So last year was 22.3 billion. And I did that yesterday, got the data yesterday. And it's past the September date because the DoD has a 90-day delay in reporting. So I'm trying to get the final numbers for FY21. Okay, and then just a note about the WOSB and the EDWOSB program, the NAICS code. And this is straight from 15 U.S.C. 637. I have a link down there if you want to read it. A lot of people don't understand that when they're restricting competition for WOSBs and EDWOSBs, you have to be in a certain NAICS code in which the SBA has determined that women are substantially underrepresented. So I did provide at the end in the resources, a table of NAICS codes that covers. And I just want to bring this to light because it may help you determine whether you want to do the EDWOSB program. They let anybody certify as WOSB or EDWOSB, but only certain NAICS codes can take part in the actual set-asides or sole sources. So please be aware of that. I do have some of the NAICS at the end of the presentation, and I do have a link to the table. Some people, as much as the financial information that you have to provide, I like to let people who know or who are going to apply for the EDWOSB to know that, you know, they can apply for it and put all their financials in. But if they're not in one of those NAICS, they need to decide whether it's worth giving the government all of their information to become EDWOSB. I mean, it would just be that you have the emblem. You wouldn't be able to participate in set-asides. You may be able to participate in some financial programs. That's an upside for it. So I kind of walk my clients down that road of, you know, do they want to put in all their financial information if they're not in one of those NAICS codes. So please explore that. Get with your, if you have a PTAC counselor, get with them to explore that, or one of the women business centers, such as Darlene and Darlene has. Oops. Okay. I went rogue on the. Okay, so we're going to get into creating an account. So this is the website, the beta.certified.sba.gov. Don't go to certified.sba.gov. I think they have a banner on there now where you can click and come to this site. In the beginning, it was kind of confusing because people were going into the Certify SBA and kind of uploading their stuff, but they were in the wrong place. But I'm pretty sure now that they have a banner that directs you to this site. And if you get the slides, this is linked. It will take you to the website. Some good things on here are the knowledge base. You'll go out there to get the guide that I use to put the slides together. It's really, you should really download it. I actually have a link in the resources. Go in there and get it, and then you can follow along as you're doing your certification if you plan to do it by yourself. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is create an account. You should already be registered in SAM and have the login.gov account before applying. So you should have your DUNS number already. You should already be registered in SAM. So you'll click on Get Started, and you'll just come down here to create an account, and you'll create the account. And then when you do that, oops, yeah, when you do that, after you create the account, then you'll get the accept the terms and conditions. It'll take you to the login.gov page, and you'll do the login.gov, and then you'll be into the beta.certify system. If you go through this and you kind of get stuck in something and you can't get in, just go back to the main page and click the login, and that should take you to the login.gov page. The first thing you're going to do is claim your business. And again, I said I had the red things here as the things that have been kind of a sticking point for owners. The women with the majority ownership needs to be the one to claim the business. I've had husbands that's gone out and claimed the business. I've had a woman just delegate someone in her business do this for her. This really messes things up. So the woman who is going to submit this needs to be the one to go out and claim it. It really causes problems if they don't. And there was a glitch that about the government business POC in SAM. So the woman owner should be the government POC in SAM, otherwise it won't be found. So these are two good tips. Go out and check your SAM before you get started, and make sure whoever the woman is for this is actually the government POC in SAM. There's been issues if that's not what happens, and you have to go through the help desk, and it takes a while to get things figured out. So claiming your business, you're going to put in your DUNS number, your TIN or EIN number. and then your MPIN. And I have this in red too, because a lot of people don't remember what their MPIN is. This is something you set up when you registered in SAM. If you don't remember what it is, you can kind of go into SAM and do, say, an update, and like, I think it's on the 3rd or 4th page, it'll give you an idea of what your MPIN is. It gives you like the last 4 digits. You can try and figure out what it was, or you can reset it. So if you have absolutely no idea what your MPIN is, you can go try to figure it out, or you can reset it, and then let it update in the system, and then you can come back here and put the MPIN in. If you have everything and you fill it out, you're going to click find. And then when your business comes up, you're going to claim it. So you are claiming the business. And like I says, if you have any issues with claiming the business, on that page at the top, there was a help tab. You can click on the help and put in a ticket and explain what the issue is. Okay, size standard. So you're going to verify your primary NAICS. And again, this is something that comes over from SAM. If you have numerous NAICS codes, make sure you're checking the NAICS codes table. Make sure you check the woman-owned or the EDWOSB NAICS table, and make sure you put the appropriate NAICS code in there. If you want to participate in the woman-owned small business and the EDWOSB set-asides for contracting, you'll need to make sure that that NAICS code you put in SAM is one of those from the WOSB table. If it is incorrect, you'll have to go back into SAM and do the update and go to the NAICS table and mark the appropriate primary NAICS code so that it will show up in here. It will give you the small business side standards here. So whatever NAICS code this was, it's 750 employees. So it'll tell you, yes, you're a small business and 750 employees. Now the years you're reporting, this is going to be how many years you've been in business. They like to have 5 years. If you've been in business 5 years, put the 5 years of employees, and then it's going to do the average for you. If you only been in business 1 year, of course, 1. Just make sure you put the appropriate amount of years that you've been in business. They'll be able to tell us by how many years of tax returns you put in. So make sure that you're accurate in the number of years that you report. The business type. Okay, so you must be a for-profit business. The small business program should confirm your primary business type as per SBA. If you have any disagreement with your business type data pulled from SAM, then you'll have to update it in SAM. And that's talking about this, whoops. Sorry, where it says right here, partnership or limited liability partnership. If it says partnership and you're actually an LLC or a corporation, you can only change this by going back into SAM and changing it and then waiting for the system to update. Then you can come back in here. So I highly suggest you kind of check your SAM registration before you come in here and make sure all of these items are what you want them to be. And then this is just debarment, just a eligibility question if anyone's been debarred in your business. Usually if you're a young company and you don't have any, if you haven't had any contracts, you're going to say no. If you say yes, then you can't apply for the WOSB program. And then citizenship, you're going to have to upload either a birth certificate, a certificate of naturalization, an unexpired passport, or a report of birth abroad. And so you'll upload one of those. And my note here is make sure your legal name matches on all your documents. That's been a problem with certifications. Some ladies may have a passport with their married name, but documents with other documents that they upload may have their maiden name, or vice versa. Maybe you got your passport and then you got married. So make sure whichever one you use that it's your actual name. If you use a birth certificate and you got married, make sure to include your marriage certificate. So just make sure that it's all clear what your actual legal name is. You know, check what your tax reports are, check what your LLC, make sure your legal name matches on all of your documents. You can run into problems if it doesn't. Okay, delegates. So this citizenship question and uploading of your proof of citizenship is the last question. Then it's going to go into delegates. So you're the woman, you just passed that, and now it says delegates. And you can say, oh, I can have someone else go through all of this for me. It happens a lot. I work with other people that are not the owner to try to put these in. I highly suggest, if you're the woman applicant, that you continue on and do this. Delegates seem to be an issue because sometimes they don't know the full answer or know what's being asked. If it was me and my company, I would want to continue through and do the whole thing, so I make sure that everything's correct. But if you're a busy woman, you know, running a corporation, you know, everything like that, and you just don't have the time to do it, you can delegate someone to do it. And this is where you fill it out. Delegate first name, last name, and email. And when you finish that and close out, it will send them an email, and then they go in and register to get access to all the cards that have to be filled out, all the information that has to be filled out. Okay, now I want to go through some of the application highlights. And again, I put in red the things that kind of hold things up or can go awry. So the first thing you're going to be asked is, are you 51% owned and controlled by one or more economically disadvantaged women? So this can be confusing. Sometimes people who are not EDWOSB end up doing an EDWOSB application because they get confused by this question. So the first one is, the applicant 51% owned or controlled by, well, yes, because that's why we're here. We're gonna do this application. The second one is the one people get confused on, is the applicant 51% owned and controlled by one or more economically disadvantaged women. If you are going to apply for the EDWOSB and you have all of your financials and everything ready to go, you're going to click yes. If you're not, you're going to click no. Sometimes people come through and they don't necessarily understand the questions and they'll click yes here. And then they get through the whole application and it starts getting to the financials and they're like, why do I have to do financials? And it's because they clicked the wrong answer on this question. So please make sure you click the right one. Otherwise, you have to send in a help desk ticket to get that application canceled before you can start over again. They don't let you like change it to EDWOSB. It's kind of long and complicated. So it's very important that you answer this question correctly. Okay, now I want to talk a little bit about the business structure. Partnership doesn't seem to be a problem, but as you can see, I have corporation like in big red letters. Corporations seem to be a real problem with being sent back. And it usually has to do with the stock ledgers, the stock certificates, showing the 51% of outstanding stock, submitting the actual stock ledger, the stock certificates. They have to be the front and the back of the stock certificates. And then the articles of incorporation must show the applicant controls the board of directors. So if you're a corporation and you just, what do I want to say? Maybe you set it up as a corporation or an S Corp just for tax reasons, but maybe you're the only person in the corporation, or you know, something along that line. It's not like a standard corporation. This is what I run into a lot with new businesses. They'll do the corporation S Corp, but there's like only one person and they're doing it for tax reasons or for some other reason. That always seems to be a problem. or a corporation that's kind of, they started out as like one person and they slowly have grown, but they haven't really kept track of the stocks or the certificates. They haven't had, you know, board meetings and things like that. So those are the biggest problems with saying you're a corporation or an S Corp, is making sure you have the documents that an actual larger corporation would have. So if you're kind of in this boat, make sure you get all of this together before you apply, and then it all matches, and you have the business meeting minutes, the board meeting minutes about, you know, how are you going to conduct things, that you're actually in control of the board of directors, that you actually have the 51% of stock. So this is very important if you have a corporation. It's really been a problem with the applications. So for the LLCs, you need the Articles of Organization, Operating Agreement, and any amendments. These are usually done through the state. It needs to show that the 51% of each class member interested is unconditionally and directly controlled. So when you're filling out your state business structure, when you get it filed, just make sure that you are listed as like either directing manager, member, and that you hold the highest title there. I highlighted operating agreement because a lot of times LLCs, there will be a single member LLC. So typically single member LLCs won't make an operating agreement because the operating agreement says how you're going to run the company with other people in the LLC, how it's going to be operated, what happens if there's a disagreement, you know, what settlement's going to be made if you decide to dissolve the LLC. When I first started doing the certifications, I just had people write a letter saying I'm a single member LLC, I don't need an operating agreement. That seemed to work for a little bit, but now they're pushing back, and single member LLCs, you need to do an operating agreement. There's samples out on the internet you can find. If you went through LegalZoom or something like that, maybe you can ask them about doing the operating agreement for you. But that is a big issue in the application. You don't want it to be sent back for missing an operating agreement. So put something together and upload it. And then if you're sole proprietorship, the basic thing you need to do is if you're doing a DBA or you have a trade name certificate, make sure you upload that. So I always get asked, can sole proprietors get a WOSB certification? And so the answer is yes. It's pretty streamlined since you don't have to deal with all the stocks and the bonds and, you know, partnership agreements and all of that. So if you're a sole proprietor, you can still get the WOSB certification or the EDWOSB certification. I always get that question. So I want to make sure I address that. I'm going to get a drink real quick. My voice is getting scratchy. Okay, so if you did happen, well, let me start with, if you're currently an 8A program participant, you've gone through everything and you're in the 8A program, all you need to do is upload your most recent annual review letter or your 8A acceptance letter if your firm is in the first program year. Now, if you are an 8A, we'll go back to that question that says, are you EDWOSB? If you're 8A certified, you'll want to click yes for the EDWOSB. Because the women-owned program has the same requirements as for economically disadvantaged as the 8A program. So you can automatically apply for the EDWOSB if you're in the 8A program. So I have that in red, just so you know. If you did the third-party certification through like the Women's Business Center, or no, I'm sorry, the Women's Business Chamber of Commerce, or one of those other of the 4 third-party qualified certifiers, you will upload that. If you got the WOSB, you will upload it there. Of course, if you have an EDWOSB from one of those, you will click yes on the EDWOSB in that first question, and you will upload your EDWOSB certificate. If you're a veteran and you have the CVE certification through the Veterans Affairs, you will upload that certificate and any supporting documentation in this question here. And then once you're done uploading your documents, it usually takes you to the end of the application and you'll submit the application because you've already gone through all these requirements with the third party or the 8A or the VA. So you'll just submit it and it will go in for approval. If they have any questions, they'll get back to you. If you're missing any documents, they'll get back to you. But it's kind of a streamlined way of getting through the program. I was going to say something else, but I forgot. So highest position. So I put this in because the woman needs to hold the highest position, the highest officer position, and have the managerial experience to run the business. So this one comes up a lot. They want you to upload a resume to show your managerial experience. So some people just dust off an old resume and upload it, and you'll usually come back for that because you need to have your business, your position, and then everything you do under your position. And you need to concentrate on what managerial experience you have to run that business. So that's why I have it in red here, upload a resume to show managerial experience, because a lot of these get rejected because someone just dusted off an old resume and uploaded it and didn't include their current business and what they're doing and showing that they hold the highest position. So get out those resumes, dust them off, make them look great with your managerial experience and showing that you have the highest officer position. What did I want to say about this? This link right here will take you to what is required in a resume on the SBA site. And kind of their tips is be sure to list your current title and position and detailed duties and experience with the applicant firm. Include your resume, your past work experience, certifications, or volunteer efforts that contribute to your managerial experience and ability to run your firm. And then provide your work history and chronological account for your previous and current roles. So don't just use one of your old resumes. Make sure you make it look good. Okay, another thing. You should be able to manage the business on a full-time basis and devote full-time attention to the business during the normal working hours of similar businesses. So if you're not doing this, and I had someone who is working like a full-time job, not devoting full-time attention. We got to this question. She goes, "Oh, well, I work all day and then I come home and kind of work on this." So I kind of just stopped the application at that point because you have to have the full-time basis, full-time devotion to the business that you're applying for. If you don't have that, you can always do a letter saying, what your devotion is, what your full-time basis is. Maybe you work all day and then at night you work full-time on this business. Although it does say normal working hours for similar businesses. Sometimes that's not always possible. Sometimes you have to have that income in order to start your business. So they're always willing to take a letter of, explanation as to why you don't have full-time basis and devotion. I don't know the results of those yet. I haven't worked with anyone who's done that. So, but that is an option to do. Okay. So the final thing you're going to fill out is the individual contributors owner questionnaire. So everyone contributing to your firm has to contribute their details. Each individual whose ownership interest will be used to qualify for the WOSB has to complete an application. So here's an example here. If a firm has 3 owners, 34% woman, 33% woman, and 33% man, each woman is this example must complete an application. This is required to qualify for the WOSB status and demonstrate the firm is 51% owned by 1 or more women. So if you're trying to figure out what you're, if you're going to go in with two or more women and there's, you know, a man in there, what are the percentages? And you need to make sure your records reflect that, all your business documents reflect kind of your percentages and how they're distributed. Every firm owner claiming economic disadvantage must have their spouse fill out financial information so SBA can assess the economic disadvantage. And then each individual participating on the board of a WOSB firm must complete an application. And so here's some of the questions that they ask. They're pretty basic. I kind of call them like demographic information. You know, sex, marital status, social security number, date of birth, US citizenship again, contact information, best phone number, current home address, upload resume. Just remember individual owner questionnaires. Some of this may be a repeat, but this is for like other board members, other owners. So if you are the main owner and you already put all your information, just realize that these questions are for someone else in your business that is going to answer. Okay, so here's the basic information, basic questions continued. It's going to ask you again the firm ownership, bank account access. This one's always kind of confusing for people. When they asked you what's your base account, bank account access, they want to know if you have any limitations. So if there's any limitations on your draws, just any kind of limitation that you might have as the business owner. If there's any limitations, you need to describe those limitations. And again, full-time devotion for whoever the next person is filling this out. Any business affiliations, if you own or work at another company that has a relationship with the firm. And then the funny one that people are get confused by, if you happen to be a federal employee and you're starting your own business, you have to do a letter, and it's in this blue box here. You have to get a letter of no objection from your federal agency for starting your business or being a member of a business. So it's always a funny question when people come to it. But if you happen to be in that boat, you'll have to get that letter of no objection from your agency that you can start your business and it's not a conflict of interest. Okay, and then when you get to this, so Aaron Finch was the firm owner on this, so he completed their contribution. So if there happen to be 2 women that are going to be the firm owner to make up the 51%, you would add additional individual contributors here. You would add their name and then it would send it out for them to come in and fill out their individual contributor questions, the questionnaire. And then if you have board members, every board member that you have listed within your corporation documents, you'll need to add the board members here so that they can fill out all the firm questions as well. So it gets kind of complicated. The more people you have, working in the business or on the board, it gets a little more complicated to submit this. Okay, so once you've done all that, you'll come to the attestation and submission. And this has to be done by the applicant. So whoever started this, whoever went out and claimed that business, if you had a delegate fill it out, they need to tell you, okay, the application's done. You need to go in and review it, and then come to the attestation and submission. And this is what it looks like. You just mark off all of each one of these statements. You type in your name and then you attest and submit. And then when you go back to your dashboard, it's going to tell you that you submitted. Now, if you are doing the EDWOSB, I want to go through the financials that they ask you for. And this will kind of give you an idea of everything that you need to prepare before you go into the application. So the first thing it's going to ask you is this question: financial records. Do the records show that she is economically disadvantaged? And then they're going to say provide the last 3 W-2s, schedules, federal tax returns, Form 1040, and completed IRS Form 4506T for the applicant and their spouses. And then you'll see down here that they have a block for each one of those. So you'll go into each one of these and upload your documents. And please note, you can only load one document at a time. Then you have to come back out and load another one. You can't click a whole bunch. It'll only take the last one. So lesson learned on that. And then these are just the questions, the personal net worth and stuff. So here's the 750 that we talked about. Here's the 350. So here's where you're going to say, yes, I make less. Yes, I make less than 350. I have less than 6 million in assets. So these are all the documents to get you through to qualify for these. Okay. And then here's the additional financial details that I wanted you to know about. Each one of these, except for this one in red, you're just going to fill out the information in the form. So when I want to know how much cash on hand you have, provide the sum of all currency that are not on deposit with the financial institution. So anything you have in the store, if you have a store, or if you have some kind of fund that you keep in the business, how much cash on hand do you have? Any other sources of income that are not on deposit with the financial institution. This may be some sources coming from outside the company that will eventually be put into the financial institution, but is not yet, but it's owed to you. Kind of like notes receivable. Any promise of money that you have from maybe a supplier or someone who's bought something, notes receivable. Okay, your retirement accounts will not be used to calculate your personal net worth, but you have to upload the current statement. So that is one upload you have to do. Everything else is kind of a fill-in. Life insurance, if it has a cash surrender value, you need to say what the cash surrender value is. And then stocks and bonds, they want to know all your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and kind of the net worth of those. They'll also want to know what your primary residence, what the value of that is, any other real estate you might have, personal property, vehicles, and any goods, jewelry, arts, boats, anything over $2,500 in value. They want to know your notes payable and other liabilities, including credit cards, personal line of credit, but excludes a mortgage and vehicle because you've already put those in. Assess taxes, any past due, federal, state, county, and they only want taxes that are unpaid. And then your personal tax returns, upload the tax returns for the past 3 years. Once you finish that, again, we're going to come back to the attestation and submission. So when you get done with the EDWOSB, you're going to do the same thing. It can only be done by the applicant. So if you had someone else put all of your financials in, they can tell you it's ready. And then you can go to the attestation and submission. And again, it'll look like this, except it'll say EDWOSB. I didn't have a picture of that, so I just used the same slide. Okay, so that was a lot to go through in an hour. So we did talk about what qualifies as a WOSB and EDWOSB. We learned how to create an account and beta certify, and kind of the red letter things to avoid or to do. And again, in the application highlights, I wanted to highlight the items that are a big problem for having an application rejected. So hopefully you'll take those to heart. And then I wanted to let you know all the financials that you'll have to provide for the EDWOSB. It's quite a bit. And again, you'll want to make the decision whether you want to supply all those things for the EDWOSB. Understand the NAICS codes, understand what being EDWOSB will provide you in the long run by providing all of your financial information. And let's see. Okay, resources. So this very first one, and you're going to get these slides. You can click on this when you get them. It takes you to the applicant user guide, and that is where I got the screenshots and everything for today. Take that user guide, go through it, mark up the things you need to get, check SAM, make sure your NAICS is right, your business type is right, find out what your MPIN number is, and make sure you have that before you go into the application. And yeah, just use this applicant guide. If you're not going to get PTAC to help you, or the Women Business Center, or someone to help you through the application, make sure you use the user guide because it has the most up-to-date information. If you want to see the other program that I did, talking about the program and a more in-depth look at all the requirements, we do have the webinar recorded here. You can click on that and watch the webinar. And then here's the SBA WSB, EDWSB NAICS table. And this is the one I was telling you about to find out if your NAICS qualify for WSB or EDWSB for the contracting program for the set-asides and the sole source. I actually have an example of the qualifying NAICS. This is for EDWSB. I was going to make it a bigger part of my presentation, but I didn't have enough time. So I just included them here. So you'll see them in the presentation when you receive it today, if you're interested. Otherwise, you can click on that link in the previous slide to find out the WSB. So there's 2 slides of that, and then got a little time for questions. I kind of went a little over there. So James.
It's all right. We had a lot to go through.
Yeah, we did.
So it's almost 11 now. So we do have, we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A. If folks have to go, that's totally fine. If you think the Q&A will be useful for you, we do have a lot of questions. I just want to note that if we don't get to your question, and chances are we won't get to half of your questions because we have had so much to go through. Yeah. My email address is right on the screen there, info@norcalptech.org. That's our phone number. Go ahead and give me a call. And if you have questions about the WOSB, EDWOSB application, apply to your local PTAC. If you're in our service area in Northern California, you can apply to us. Otherwise, click on that link down below, or just type in the name of your county and your state and the words PTAC. And so, because your counselors, we're here for this. We can walk you through this process. So this is meant to be kind of an overview. So let's jump into Q&A here. As I said, we have a lot of questions and not very much time. If you do leave early, you'll be redirected towards a survey that just lets you have an opportunity to let us know how you felt about our webinar today. And we always love getting the feedback, and it means a lot to us and our funders. So
yes, please.
Okay, let's see how far we get through the questions. Okay. We have a lot of good questions, and I've been answering some of them by typing, but all right. Irene's asking, I received an EIDL loan from SBA. Does that mean I have an account already with the SBA, or do I need to register separately for this?
Yes, you'll still, the basic thing is to have the SAM registration and a login.gov, and then you'll go into beta.certify and set up in there. So I think kind of the answer is yes, you still have to do another application for another program. No, you don't have to be in business 5 years.
How long do you have to be in business before you're eligible?
I've helped people that have only been in business a few months. I mean, if you're eligible, you're eligible. There's really no time restriction on it. It's not like GSA or the 8A or any of those programs.
Mm-hmm. And we have a question here about what the SBA is looking for in regards to personal taxes. Some folks are having issues, and they're saying they need something more, but they're not sure what it is.
Yeah, that's something I can't really answer here. I'd have to look at your your own situation to see. So that's not something I can tend right here or answer right here.
Something to talk with your local PTAC counselor about. So, do you need to provide citizenship eligibility for the woman who owns 50%, 51%, or all owners?
If you're the only woman that owns 51%, it's just you. But if you are sharing the 51% with another woman, they will have to upload theirs as well.
So whatever it takes to get over that 51%.
Yeah.
All right, good, quick answer. Does the EDWOSB allow the contractor to get an additional tax write-off, or can they get two separate kickbacks if you're ED and WOSB? I'm not sure what they mean by kickback.
I don't know. Yeah, either your WSB or your EDWSB. There's not two separate programs.
But does the EDWOSB have certain tax incentives that the WOSB doesn't?
I do not know.
Okay.
Honestly.
We're not. Well, unfortunately, we're not tax experts. So
yeah, I don't know if you get any for that. It's
I haven't heard
more of the contract side.
Mm-hmm. If your company is incorporated, but you're operating as a sole proprietor, how do you file, and what financial information besides tax info is required? You understand that?
So you're an LLC, but you operate as a sole provider. I don't understand that.
Okay, Monica, feel free to email us if you have a clarification for your question. For now. And I think we answered that, the benefits of the EDWOSB, but if you'd like more about that, you went over that in your other webinar in more detail, right?
Right. I mean, they say they have the same. I'm talking from the contracting's perspective. They both have the same. They're both combined together when you come down to the contracting, whether it's set aside for EDWOSB or WOSB, it's the same. There may be more economic programs that you can get into with the EDWOSB, but I don't have that information.
So why would someone get EDWOSB certified rather than just make?
No, I'm saying they probably have more economic advantage down the line.
Okay. Pamela's asking, can you get the additional certifications later, such as veteran-owned small business?
Well, I mean, if you're already certified, I guess so. Having the VOSB before you get WOSB just cuts down on the amount of information you have to provide.
Well, that's good info.
Yeah, I mean, you can always go for a VOSB.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if you want to add it later. I mean, if you're already certified, I don't know what the point of adding the VOSB is.
Mm-hmm. You don't see any benefit of having.
Well, I mean, she's talking about going in and adding the certificate after she's already WSB. The point is to have the VOSB.
Oh, I see. Have the
VOSB.
Getting VOSB certified after getting WOSB certified. Yeah. So there's no point in adding those, I guess.
I do not know what that means.
Yeah, let's go ahead and skip that question. Can the owner apply for EDWOSB for two businesses, small businesses?
I would assume so.
You have to be full-time.
As long as you have to be full-time for the business. I don't know if you're splitting your time 50-50. Probably comes down to writing one of those letters explaining your business.
Okay.
And you know how you manage them, how much time you spend on them.
Mm-hmm. If I'm already WOSB certified, where an SBA certification site to apply for the EDWOSB?
You would have to go back through and click on that button that says EDWOSB. I would do that and then just go ahead and upload your WOSB when it comes to the certification part, and then just go ahead and submit it.
Mm-hmm. Monika's asking, if you don't have W-2s, you have 1099s. What do you do in that?
Yeah, it talked about 1099s in there. It said you can upload W-2s or 1099s or whatever your income is from.
Perfect. And Lawandi is asking, what's meant by schedules to upload?
Schedules. I'm not sure where I
said. Do they mean perhaps GSA schedule, something else like that?
What What is it meant by schedules to upload?
Did it list schedules?
Oh, that's part of tax. I think that's part of taxes. When you file your taxes, there's certain schedules and things that come along with it. So you have to upload everything from your tax returns.
Okay. And I want to condense this question down to basically, it's been about a year since this person applied and they haven't heard anything or a note. Do you have any advice?
Stacy, are you in our area? I wonder, or if you work with a PTAC, contact them, because we do have a point of contact that we can talk. If it's been over 6 months, that we can contact and say, hey, what's going on with this application? I don't know if you're a member of PTAC, but otherwise you're probably in the same boat with just about everybody else. They're totally way backed up. I have people from April, March. They're just totally backed up, and that's all I'm going to say. It's just a mess.
All right. I'm going to skip the IRS question here.
I don't know that answer.
We don't. Yeah. If a woman is 85% owner, do other owners need to show life insurance, stocks, bonds? No, right?
No.
If you're over 51%, and you're a woman, then you're good to go. And we know the next question. You had a link to that.
Yeah, the link is in the resources when you get the slides.
So that's a question about NAICS and how they apply with the WOSB. Yeah. All right. Can a business apply with less than a year of existence?
Yes.
That's right. Yep,
yes.
You can.
Yes, you can.
And we got that one again. It's interesting that the questions are out of order here. So
yeah, it's in the resources. The NAICS codes are in the resources.
Mm-hmm. Have to have a SAM. Yes, you need. I mean, right, Nancy? You need SAM and DUNS numbers for each business that you have.
Yeah. Unless you're, unless you did a corporation that's an enterprise and you have the businesses under that, you still need a DUNS and everything for each business that's operating. Yes, it's recorded.
This webinar is recorded. In fact, if you check the chat, I've mentioned a few times that it'll be posted to our website. So I hope you'll be able to find it there under resources. You can find the link there. Are there any places that can help with SAM registration?
Yeah, PTAC.
We can. Yeah, if you're in a service area.
You're in our service area, sign up today. You might get to talk to me.
Yeah, that's right.
If you want to.
But do pay close attention to the service area, because as per our funder agreement, if you apply even from Sacramento or Santa Cruz or Los Angeles or anywhere out of California, we won't be able to accept you as much as we'd like to. But there's PTACs all across the country. So you can see that link on the page on the slide right now at the bottom. That's where you go to find your local PTAC.
I think you can skip the next 4.
Well, we're about 10 minutes past 11.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Right. But thank you guys for being so amazingly engaged. These questions will keep on coming. They're multiplying as fast as we can hammer them out, which is great.
Yeah.
Keep those questions. Look up your local PTAC. Review the slides here. Look over our past webinars and other resources we have on our website. It's available for anybody to check out. You don't have to be a client. And if you can't figure out and answer your question, go ahead and give me an email. I'll see what I can do. So thank you so much. And of course, very special thanks to Darlene Neal and
thanks, Darlene.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. And Nancy, thanks for putting all this together and doing all the research and bearing with it and sticking through rescheduling and everything. And we had a nice turnout today. So thanks everyone. And don't forget to let us know what you thought about our webinar today. I put a link in the chat, and there will also be a survey link that you're redirected towards as we exit the webinar.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Enjoy your day.